I think that would have been a full round of everyone to speak except Ms. Mayfield, who has spoke at the beginning and is coming back. So, all right, Mr. Bokhari.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I hope that anyone around this dais and those of you who are plugged into this would know that I have, while I didn't come into this role on council thinking this would be something I would be, waking up in the middle of the night thinking about, I've gotten to that point with it. And I have gone full bore into learning as much as I can and dissecting it and breaking it down. And I've made this one of my issues now. I'm not a champion for years and years like many around us and many in this room, but I have worked very hard to get up to speed. And there's one thing that is very important to me on anything I take my time out to try to focus on is achieving results, solving the problem at its root, not necessarily doing things and having action to do them. So as part of this process, 3 principles have really risen to the top for me. The first one is we're not going to solve it by ourselves. And you hear so many people around this dais saying that exact thing. City council alone isn't going to solve it. Our actions are going to be the things that are going to inspire the community and different groups and different neighborhoods and everyone you can imagine to come to the table and say, okay, I see how this is solvable. The challenge there is we have to give them something in our actions with our limited money that has that inspiration, that says, oh, I see how that could be solved in that way. So when a lot of people are critical, and I'm critical as well in some ways, of where's our private sector, where are they at, right? One of the flaws here is all we've asked them to date is to throw money into a pile next to other money that we throw at land cost, essentially. This goes to my kind of second point, or principle, which is we have to be innovative in how we approach this. If we do the same old things we've been doing decade over decade, we'll find ourselves in the same position we are today, which is trying to tread water while 60 plus new people arrive here every day, 13% of which are in this bucket we're talking about, and we're not even making a dent in that. So this same old approach of asking the private sector to dump money, to go put it into the land, it's become very clear to me that, one, that's not going to make the dent in the problem, nor inspire the community to suddenly take this up on their own in the way that we really need them to. We have yet to really have serious discussion on how does streamlining regulation reduce the cost of all this for affordable housing in creative, incentivizing ways. How on the demand side of this are we looking at our job creation, workforce development work to nip away at, again, the numbers by which we're seeing the challenge, and how do we approaching in a material way non-real estate based solutions like a way home. And I've mentioned this group a number of times. If you think, oh, I'm like, some part of the group at this point, and much as I talk about them, I'm not. It's the first actual non-real estate based solution I've heard that addresses some of this. So that kind of leads me finally to my third principle in the way I'm thinking about it, which is, and I've changed how I talk about this now, because I don't want people to get the wrong impression of what the problem is. We need to address our areas of greatest need. And our areas of greatest need right now are 30% AMI and below. That's where the crisis is. There is need everywhere, but under 30% is the crisis. And then 30 to 50 is another problem that exists. Those are our 2 areas of greatest need. And if you're telling me through what we have to vote on today that we can't put all 30% projects together because that concentrates this, or every time we approve these deals and put $9.5 million in, we're going to get 7% of 30% housing. That's going to take us 1,200 years and $11 billion to solve the actual area of greatest needs that exists today. Those 2 can't be our only options. They cannot be. They're real estate based. So we need to figure out a way to go after the 9% money, because I agree, smart, over 25%, over a quarter of that is in the area of greatest need. And then I would also mirror that of, if I haven't convinced him otherwise at this point, of Councilmember Harlow to break out the votes, because I didn't know going into this where I'd be, but I know that $9.5 million, if some of that other money doesn't get allocated and spent, is an awful lot of money for us to inspire this community to solve the problem. We just have to give them something to be inspired about. End of report.
Thank you for that. Mr. Phipps.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council.